Welcome back to Artcraft Electronics. Today's video will be on the MD9600 firmware update. Where to get your files from, how to get it done. There's a little translation from Chinese that needs to be done, but we got to cut them some slack. I'm glad they're not trying to understand my Chinese. Anyway, let's go. What we do is we go to www.tyt888.com/?mod=download. If you don't do that, if that didn't work for you, then just go to Google and do MD9600 firmware update, and the TYT software download site will be second or third response typically. You go down the list and you see MD9600 updated firmware on 15 December 2017. That's what you're looking for. You click on that and save it, and down it will come, and we're done with that. Okay, there it is. Happens to be the second one because I was sandbagging and I put the first one there on the desktop already. I've even unrarred it. You can get an unraring program from WinRAR. They'll let you try it out for 30 days or so, free, so it's a good deal. Back to the MD9600. You open it up and you're looking at the CPS application to set up the CPS. We're not going to do that right now. I'm figuring you know how to set up a CPS, and you need 1.21. But the firmware download application, you need to run that right now because that will install the firmware download program on your computer. Let's do that. Oh yeah, you have to run it as administrator. Just double click on it, it doesn't do anything. Next, 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 next. Finish. And it's all happy about that. Okay, right now we have on our desktop this upgrade download program. I'm going to get back to that in just a moment. I want to open up the release notes, the description. Okay, the MD9600 has version of 100 decimal for zeros contacts. That's 100,000 contacts. Now you can either have your record function. Did you know the MD9600 had a record function? I did, I just don't use it. Or you can have 100,000 contact capability by giving you the ability to upload a CSV. That's what I was looking for. There's a number of other things that are good about the programming software in the firmware update. The pop, the noise after the reception of signals, even the tones, is reduced significantly. The hand microphone light turns off when you turn off the radio. The volume adjustment is a little better. There's a lot of things that are improved in this particular firmware update and the programming software. And I hope they continue to do that, because the one thing that just chaps my hide is the tones are still way out of control. They're way too loud. Well, this is a firmware update thing, so I'm not going to get into that right now. I love the radio, but the firmware update is where we are right now, and the only thing I have about not loving the radio is those tones are way too loud. So we have the firmware download program has been installed on the computer. We're going to fire that up right now, and there will be a little translation required. Okay, we're presented with a screen that might be a little confusing. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But what we want to do, we open file of boot, download file of boot. We want to ignore that for the moment. And let's go to File Upgrade, Open File Upgrade. We click on that, and here we find our folder where we just came from. And you can have 5.03 firmware that will maintain your record function, REC. For your non-GPS, you can have it for your GPS, and then you can have the CSV upload capability for your GPS. That's 5.03, and you got to make sure that you get the right firmware for your radio and what you want to do. What I wanted to do is the MD9600 CSV capability, and I do not have a GPS unit. So I click on that, open, and then that particular firmware appears in next to the open file upgrade. Now we have to put the radio in a condition where it can receive the firmware update. I'm going to do that right now. What you have to do is turn the MD9600 on, leave it turned on, and then disconnect power. Now that's going to take just a minute for me to disconnect the power, because I'm going over here, and really what I am doing is I am, well, hang on a minute, it's getting, there we go. I disconnected the power, and you literally do have to disconnect it. I know I'm repeating that several times, but if you turn off your power supply, and your power supply has some caps in it that are holding the voltage, it may not drop low enough that you can successfully interrupt the voltage to the radio to the level that's necessary. Now, with your two hands, this is going to be quite a little stunt, because what you have to do is you have to hold and disconnect everything to do this, by the way, and you're hearing me do this in real time, and I'm having to disconnect the speaker and various other things at the moment. Anyway, right now I'm holding the unit between my knees, and you're going to understand this in just a minute, or when you give this a try. And what I'm going to do is hold the red button and the P1 button, and then with my other hand I'm going to reconnect DC power. At this point in time, the MD9600 display screen is flashing at me, so I know I'm in the firmware upload mode. Then what I do is I download the file of upgrade. Now you're seeing the upgrade file is being downloaded. It's a little bit of acrobatics that's involved to do this, since we don't have three hands typically, but if you put on power poles instead of that 2-pin connector that comes with them, it's a whole lot easier with the 2-pin connector that comes with the 9600 that's just toward the power supply side of the fuse, closer to the radio. Anyway, the upgrade file is being downloaded, and everything's going pretty good here. No problems at all. As you can see, the green file, or the green file indicator up on top, just continues, and it's about half done right now, so I'm going to babble a little bit. not too much going on. I do want to make a little report at this time. I've used this radio for, some time, and I find it to be the best radio right now for me. The CSV information that comes up is very complete. First and last name, location. Oh, here we go. Download upgrade file successful. That's nice. Okay, I'm going to say okay to that. Now what we do is disconnect the power once again. And I just disconnected the power. And now we're going to reconnect the power, only this time, thankfully, we're not going to be pushing the red button and the P1 button simultaneously to put it in the firmware upload mode. We're just going to reconnect the power. And there it is. It came back up. Well, there we go. Helps to turn the microphone on, turn the local monitors off. Well, that is the upgrade of the firmware for the MD9600. Let's check and see if we've been successful. In order to do that, we go to the CPS. We're going to read our radio. That'll take just a moment to read the data from the radio. And since we're on the basic information page, we're going to see all of the there's those tones. We're going to see all of the versions that we have in the radio. The CPS version we're using is 1.22. By the way, we did load 1.21, and it has been upgraded or updated by TYT to 1.22. Just the difference in numbers, and that hasn't been reconciled yet. I don't think they thought it was particularly important, and I don't. Anyway, hardware version is 1.00. MCU, which in this case translates directly to firmware version, is 5.003, which is the updated firmware. So, we've been successful. Let me know if this was useful to you, or if I can improve the videos in some way to make them a little bit more informative. Now, I'm going to close this down, but I want to mention, a little teaser I guess, that we've recently received a Anytone radio from my favorite vendor, and it's a great portable radio. It's a handheld dual band. It has all of the features, more features than I know what to do with. It has everything that's in the MD9600, a CSV upload function, and it's just a terrific radio. I'm looking forward to doing a video on that later on. Meanwhile, happy hamming from Artcraft Electronics.